Well, my mother's father started the business in the late 30s. It was part of my mother's inheritance, and my dad just continued operating the place. He became the owner uh, after my grandfather died, and he retired in '93, and that's when I took over.
Grandfather started out with nothing.
With nothing.
He built it with his own talent and his own ingenuity from the ground up. He started out with his own house, built the store, I get then.
Looking back as a child, like Anna said, you don't understand everything going on, but there were people who would come in. You talked about credit cards. Well, my dad didn't have people didn't have credit cards back then, and it was harder for minorities to get credit from people, and so they knew they could always go to the green and white. You see this little wooden block here. People would come and sign their receipt and put their name on there, and my dad trusted them. If they needed food, if they needed medication, candles, anything, my dad knew them, and it was just a spoken thing, and it was as simple as writing it on the cash register receipt.
Really provided one of the deep raíces for East Austin in terms of leadership in the community. It was known by the majority of the community. It was also known even by the borrachitos to go get their beer there, but they also provided a service in the sense that the way that these people were treated there were not with disrespect at all.
These people didn't have banks. Nobody who would go and cash their check. They didn't have transportation to what few banks were open back then, but they could always come to the store to cash their Social Security check or whatever.
We delivered groceries too.
And people who didn't, the elderly who didn't have,
My dad used
who
to
didn't have a way to come
take
to
me
the
out with
store.
him to deliver groceries for the old ladies or old men who couldn't get out.
I was working over here at Las Manitas next door, and my interest for food was starting to grow, and I was starting to explore. I've been leaning a lot back towards my culture, Latino background, and just wanting to understand more about it, understand where my grandmother comes from when she's cooking in the kitchen on top of other things. And so, I went over to Green and White Grocery to go look at it and check it out, and I fell in love.
It is an Austin institution. It's a place in the community in which many people have gone throughout the years to find those things that bring comfort to them. In my early years, it was the comfort of food, the comfort of things that reminded me of home and things that I ate at home. And then as the years have gone by, it has now become a different place. It's been transformed into a place that you might call a metaphysical store, or a store that caters to spiritual endeavors.
I needed something to curar the susto. My mom's been really sick for a few days. She can't sleep, and she's real jumpy, and everything's worrying her. She's crying and crying. And I came here, and he told me that these herbs would work, and it's herba buena, and I'm supposed to boil it and give it to her as a tea, so hopefully that'll work and help her sleep better and get back to her normal self. And I got these candles because she just feels really safe when she has things like this. She really believes in all the saints, and she always, I think maybe she can also sleep because she hasn't had these burning. Usually she sleeps with it and has it on day and night. So just as kids, we were always raised with all the different saints, and we always had candles burning, so it kind of makes us feel safe, and I'm sure it'll help her sleep better.
In my tradition, it's called Eflun, and I come here. This is pretty much the only place in town that I know that I can come and get this locally. It's a sacred, blessed powder, and it's actually made of either crushed eggshells, or in this case, this is like a very fine chalk. Or in Nigeria, it's made out of crushed. It can be made out of crushed cowrie shells. But the thing is that it has to be blessed by an initiated priest, and either in the origin of this tradition is Ifa the Yoruba tradition, Santeria, Candomblé, Lukumi, and so on. And you use it to like smudge on yourself for blessings, and it's also used, pieces of it are used in readings and divinations. It's actually similar to in Catholicism when you smudge the ashes for Ash Wednesday on your forehead, and then also in a similar way of using holy water, except in this form it's like a white chalk.
And very critical for people that are just recent immigrants to Austin and that find themselves in a difficult position of trying to find the medicines that they used in Mexico but don't know where to turn to. And John has been there, always willing to accommodate them in finding the herbs that they are asking for.
I have a similar shop like this, and this shows how the community work. John, both of the Johns had green and white, or if they're out of something, they'll call me. If I'm out of something, I'll send customers to them. That's just make the community works better and flow along, and people who are here looking for something can possibly get what they came to get.
They tell me all the time that they're glad we're here because there's not another place like this, and they just like coming over here. You know, even if I think all of our customers appreciate it, whether they're big spenders or little spenders. We're important to them, and that's important to me. Thanks a lot for stopping. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.